Robosen Optimus Prime. Almost a year ago today, Robosen Optimus Prime made his official debut to the world. And when I say official, it's because he had a very convoluted kind of history getting up to that point. On April 9th, 2021, almost 1 year ago, at the Hasbro Pulse Fan Fest 2021, which was this big event that they were putting together online, it had celebrities, it had all kinds of hype. They showed off the Robosen Optimus Prime. It went for $699.99. The pre-orders hit that moment. It sold out like crazy. And it shipped out August 2021. Not long after it ended up in the hands of many fans, it was promptly put back into his box and put in the back of the closet, never to be seen again for many of fans. And then those same fans probably wish they probably put that money into HasLab Unicron instead. But I digress. The point is that Robosen Optimus Prime was this thing. It was a very impressive item, very pricey. But we kind of, if you were in the know of what was going on behind the scenes in the Transformer world, it wasn't really a Transformer product. It was kind of inflated in its value in a lot of ways. And when you learned its origins, which we'll get into when we come to discussing what's coming up right now, there's a lot of stuff tied to that origin and that past that goes back almost like more than 5 years ago. So we got this new trailer that was shown today for Robosen, and it's Optimus Prime, and he's going, "The battle is won, but the war is far from over. We will never forsake this planet or its people." And then, of course, a whole bunch of cars start coming at him. They're all in shadows, and you can only see their headlights. And you could kind of make out what the cars are, if you kind of know the general shape of certain stuff. And then he says, "So, we meet again." And then you hear like a Michael Bay transforming Transformer sound, followed by Dan Gilbazin going, "Okay, let's go." And then the traditional Generation 1 transforming sound. And then it says, "Mystery Unveiled, April 12th. And that's it from Robosen. So what we could take away from this is, number one, there's going to be some new Robosen auto transforming product. Number two, it's probably going to feature Dan Gilbazin's voice, which we'll get into a moment what that means. Number three, the unveiling on April 12th coincidentally coincides with the Hasbro First Tuesday that we're going to be getting next week, which is an hour long of just Transformers news and reveals. So obviously a little chunk of that is going to be dedicated to Robosen and whatever their new reveal is going to be. And that is that. Now, the thing is that who is it? Well, Dan Gilbazin. It's got to be Bumblebee, right? But here's the thing. You got that Michael Bay transforming kind of sound. You got the G1 transforming kind of sound. The Volkswagen is kind of a dicey kind of alt mode to kind of get being done as a Robosen design. Maybe it's going to be Dan Gilbazin's voice attached to a Bumblebee, but maybe it's a movie Bumblebee. Perhaps it's going to be the Camaro. Maybe those three cars are three different designs of Camaro, because Camaro always has this insanely interesting product shot that always shows the three different Camaros that Bumblebee was based on. And I'm going to even post it in the thumbnail here. And it kind of like almost parallels those three different cars. So it could potentially be that. Maybe it's just three different Bumblebee Camaros. Or maybe it's a Bumblebee Camaro, a Volkswagen, and I don't know, Goldbug. I don't know. The point is that it could be that. We do know it's going to be some kind of Bumblebee. That's for sure, because of Dan Gilbazin's voice being there. But let's dive even deeper into that, because Robosen was not always Robosen, and this Optimus Prime was not always an official Optimus Prime product. We go all the way back 5 years ago, April 2017, in China, at the World Robot Conference in Beijing specifically. And they were showing off a whole bunch of these auto-transforming robots that they were working on. And they even had the licensed Transformer sound put into them and Optimus Prime's voice put into them. And they had Optimus Prime, they had Hound, and they had Scrapper, the Generation 1 Constructicon, 3 little prototypes that they had on display, and that was in April of 2017. Then in August of 2017, they really finalized the Optimus Prime one, and they had a color version on display. And they dubbed it MPPP10, kind of like a nod to MP10, which at the time in 2017 was like the best Optimus Prime masterpiece toy before we got our, I guess we call it 3.0 Optimus Prime. And so they were going to put that out. That was going to be a thing. It was going to sell for 2,500 RMB, which slow down 2,500 RMB in Chinese money is about a little under $400 USD. Mind you, that was before the big V, so maybe it was even a little bit more since it was like 5 years ago. And that was that. It was going to be happening. There was going to be this Optimus Prime sold through a third-party company called Sen Power. Interesting how much that sounds familiar, eh? And then in September of 2017, they revealed their hot rod that they're going to be doing, an Autobot hot rod also. No price, no release date, only a resin prototype, no full color version. I'll post that one in the thumbnail also. And that was all 5 years ago. And then magically, everything went quiet. And then in April 2021, we have, instead of Sen Power and their MPP10 Optimus Prime, we have Robosen and Hasbro's licensed Optimus Prime. Clearly something went on behind the scenes. Probably some cease and desist followed by let's do some business. Otherwise, they're going to do business without us. And the rest was history. So what I'm trying to get at is maybe those other vehicles, maybe it could be that Hound. Maybe it could be that Scrapper. Maybe it could be that Hot Rod. Oh, God help me if it's that Hot Rod. I mean, for sure it's going to be a Bumblebee of some kind. Volkswagen, Camaro, or otherwise. But maybe it could be those two because of already what exists in the history of that company and what they've already done up to this point. But we shall see. Again, reminder, so Tuesday, April 12th, 2022, at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when they're going to be doing this Hasbro First Tuesday. It's a 2-hour event. The 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock is going to be Transformers. And from 11 o'clock to 12 o'clock, it's going to be Power Rangers. It seems like it's just going to be those two brands for that day. There is no mention of anything else up to that point. So keep that in mind, too, if you do want to find out about this. Hopefully, it's not just Robosen. Hopefully, it's also going to be some legacy stuff, maybe some studio series, maybe some buzzworthy Bumblebee crossover. Hey, what's happening with BotBots now that it finally rolled out properly? Hey, what's going to be happening with Rise of the Beast stuff? There's all these different brands that I'm pretty sure they could use that hour block, and hopefully they don't waste it all talking about Robosen. Hopefully they use it to really show us everything that's going to be happening in the coming year, and we don't have to find out through stuff stolen from the factory. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think. I know it's a little bit of some deep diving here. If you want to hear the original segments to even see like some more images of the Sen Power stuff before it became Robosen, of Hound and Scrapper and Hot Rod, it's in there in the archive. It's so long ago that it's when we had the old microphones and Jaws D was still a regular on the podcast. That's how long ago it was, just to give you an idea of how this was percolating in the background long before Hasbro put their official stamp on it.